Do you know your average speed when you ride? Now, some of us will know it off by heart and be striving to improve it, and for good reason, because it's a good way to measure your progress in your performance. So in this video, I'm going to run you through some tips and some tricks so that you can squeeze out a few more kphs. Yep, a few more kilometers per hour. Now, before we dive into it, we've got to remember there are also nowadays a lot of ways that you can measure your performance and fitness that are more accurate. Say, for example, a power meter, but speed is still really good too. We've got to remember though that there are a lot of variables. The weather, the traffic, the road surface, etc. You kind of get the idea, but you can use these in your favor too. Yep, we can be a little bit sneaky. Anyway, keep out between us. Right, let's get back to it. Let's start off with the most important one, our fitness. Now, when it comes to average speed, a lot of us will tend to do the same loop and repeat the effort and expect to get quicker, which for a time, this might work. But after a while, we'll stop improving and our training will come to a plateau. Now, if you're one of these people, I'll let you in on a secret. Variety is not only the spice of life, it's also the spice of training, at least when we're talking about cycling. Now, this can mean doing longer rides, it can mean doing slower rides, but it could also mean going much, much harder, and then in between, going a lot easier. Now, let you into some more secrets. Woo! Now, one thing to remember when you're doing your hard intervals is that you can do it in different lengths, and your fitness will change on the different length of effort that you do. For example, if you do a really hard short blast, you'll get a different effect on your fitness than if you did some longer, harder intervals. But the thing to remember is not to mix up the times of those intervals in the same ride. When it comes to variety, you want to mix up the intervals on different days. You get my drift? Nice. Do them in different places too. Now, if you're doing your intervals on a climb, it's going to improve your ability to climb, and then do them on the flat, and it's going to improve your ability to, yes, you guessed it, ride on the flat. One thing to remember though is start off slow, maybe add one interval session in the week and then build up from there. Be warned though, you can actually do too much intensity training and that becomes bad for you. So, listen to your body. If you're tired, take it easy. Now, as well as thinking of training in terms of how hard we're going, we can also think about how fast we are pedaling. Our cadence, improve that, and it's actually really going to help our cycling. Now, the good news is, when we first get into cycling, we actually tend to be quite efficient at pedaling. But a lot of us tend to start and get way down with a really big and heavy gear. Now, this is not because we want to pedal slow, it's because we're not using our gears efficiently. Now, if we don't use our gears efficiently, we can wear out our legs, increase the fatigue, and then when we come to the end of the ride, well, our speed is going to be hampered. Yes, something we definitely don't want. The thing to remember is try to use your gears to help you ride at the cadence that you feel comfortable with. Now, just confuse you, why don't you try intervals that switch up that cadence? For example, slip it in a really big heavy gear and then pedal at a really slow cadence, say 50 to 60 RPM. Then switch it up and try and pedal at a really uncomfortably fast cadence, say 120 RPM. This will all help your ability to ride faster. Now, moving on nicely from cadence and pedaling, we come to pacing. Now, whatever route or distance you decide to do, pace it correctly and you're going to get the best average speed that you can do. Now, a lot of us tend to start out way too fast, go out the blocks and use all our energy up at the first hurdle. And then when it comes to the end of the ride, well, we've just got no energy to finish off the ride strongly. So what we want to try and do is pace our ride towards a negative split. Now what I mean by that is that starting off at a comfortable speed that you can maintain for the longevity of the ride, and then as you get over that halfway point, you can start to increase that speed. And then when you finish off the ride, you're finishing it off strongly, getting all the energy out you possibly can. Thus, having a negative split and having a good average speed. Got it? Yes. However, that's not always the fastest way to do your ride. If, for example, you've got a flat route and you've got no wind, you can technically ride at the same effort the whole way around. But this isn't always the case for every ride. And so, as a good rule of thumb is to go hard on the harder bits, say on the climbs and into a headwind, and then go that little bit easier on the easy bits, thus getting some recovery. You got that, sheep? Yeah, I think he's got that. Also, think about where you can go faster for less effort. For example, if you can go really hard at the top of a climb, and then you can use that speed on the descent. And same goes for when you hit the bottom of a punchy, short climb. Going hard into it carries the speed into the climb too. And you'll find that your speed actually starts to rocket. But the thing to remember is be smart with your pedaling and your energy. No point smashing it into a junction and then having to stop, wasting all that energy. So, moral of the story, ride smart. Now we've covered some really important aspects at the top of this video, but one thing not to overlook and something that will make a drastic difference to your average speed is to be properly fueled. Fueling. Now you would expect to drive a car really quickly without putting a lot of fuel in it, would you? So make sure a couple of hours before you set out on your ride, you have a good amount of slow releasing carbohydrates. Say in the morning, you're looking for a breakfast. I tend to go for something like a porridge or an overnight oats. Now this gives you slow releasing energy the whole way through your ride. Add some blueberries in as well, makes it a lot better. If you're doing a ride that is in excess of 90 minutes, you need to think about fueling on the bike. Now sports nutrition products are designed to be eaten on the bike. They easily digest it and they give a good release of energy. You want to look to have around 60 grams of carbohydrates every hour. Now you also need to think about the strategy and when you fuel. Say a bar at the beginning and throughout the middle of your ride, and then you can move to gels for that faster release of energy closer to the end of your ride. Now it doesn't matter how you take those carbohydrates, but the more you have, the good fueling and the better you fuel, you'll be able to go faster and for longer, and potentially go even further too. So, key point, keep fueled. Now, top tip when you're going for a fast average speed is choose your route very carefully. If you go for a hilly route and one that's covered and littered with junctions and red lights, well, this is going to eat into your precious average speed. So my advice is go for a fast, flat route. That way you'll smash your average speed. Now, if you're looking for a route and you're wondering about the elevation, a top tip is to get on an app like Commute. That way you can design your route and also find out how much elevation it has within it too. Oh no, that's my route in the Dolomites. Now, if you're an avid cyclist, it's highly likely that you would have come across the word aerodynamics. To be more aero, to cut through the air quicker, to fight against the force that is slowing us cyclists down. Now, it has to be said, the more aero you get, the faster you can go for the same effort. But aerodynamics actually gets quite a bad rap because a lot of people think it's a byword for really expensive tech. But seemingly, you can actually make a lot of things more aero. For example, your socks you wear or rear derailleurs. But actually, some of the biggest aerodynamic gains can be made for free. Just changing up our cycling position can dramatically help our aerodynamic efficiency. For example, lowering our head, rolling in our shoulders and flattening our back can really improve our aerodynamics. Ride like a bullet or with a hunched back, you're really going to find it help. Now, as we said, it can be quite hard to ride like this for a longer period of time, but with a good amount of practice, it really does get easier. Woo! And you feel the speed. Now, moving on from body position, we can also increase our aerodynamic efficiency by the kit we wear. Now, as we said, that's why cyclists ride in Lycra. Not only is it good to cycle in and it's comfortable, but it's also aerodynamic too. Now, we can spend a lot of time, a lot of money on kitting ourselves out in the best and most aerodynamic kit possible. But to be honest, a good set of Lycra jersey and well-fitted jersey and a well-fitted pair of shorts will get you a long way. Now, last bit of tech, which will increase your speed and won't break the bank, is looking at your rolling resistance, which is the next biggest force that us cyclists are fighting against. Now, improving our rolling resistance will see our speed get that bit faster. Now, we have a load of different videos on our tech channel that go into depth and shows you what best tyres and inner tube combination are the fastest. So make sure you check those out. Now remember though, no matter what bike you get, a fast bike is a well-maintained bike. Make sure you lube it correctly, make sure you look after it. After all, that is also going to make a big difference. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, then let us know in the comment section below, and why not give it a big thumbs up. And let me know if you've improved your average speed by watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Right, it's about time I say goodbye. Ciao for now!